Have you ever had a daylily that was so pretty you wish you could clone it? Well, I'll tell you what, here's some good news. There are some varieties of daylilies that will do it for you. We're going to talk about something today that you might see show up on some of your daylilies called a proliferation. And we're going to talk about what that is and how you can get them and what to do with them if you do. So this is the variety Hazel Stitchery, and what I wanted to talk to you today about was this thing growing on the stalk here. See this? This is called a proliferation. And this is basically a baby plant of Hazel Stitchery just growing right here on the stalk called a proliferation. Now, this is going to be an exact genetic copy of Hazel Stitchery. And I mention that because it's different from a seed. If a seed pod were to come up on this plant or any daylily, a seed is not going to be an exact genetic copy. It will be a mix, so it won't be exactly the same. But this proliferation, if you want to harvest this, which we're going to talk about, will be an exact match to Hazel Stitchery. Alright, so what can you do to get proliferations on your daylilies? Well, basically you just have to select varieties that create them, because there are some that do on a pretty regular basis, but the vast majority of daylilies do not create proliferations, and there's nothing you can do to get them to occur on those varieties. Now, we've listed below in the information about this video some of the varieties that we grow that are prone to create those. So if you plant those varieties, you're more likely to get proliferations. And then the main thing you could do is just make sure your plants get plenty of water. Water is going to be the trick to getting plenty of proliferations on those varieties that are prone to do it. We use proliferations here at the nursery as a way to increase some of the varieties that we're trying to grow to sell. One of the varieties that is a really good proliferator is the variety whatchamacallit. There's a couple big words in one sentence. And we've used it a lot because it creates so many proliferations that we're able to harvest those and line them out and just make more plants of that. So you're able to do the same thing in your garden with the varieties that create proliferations. Alright, so what do you do if your plant creates some proliferations? Alright, so what you're going to want to do is to wait until your new plant, your proliferation, is about as big as it's going to get, and you're going to want to harvest it before the stalk that it's growing on turns brown. Right, so you can see the proliferation. You see that there is growing on this stalk, you know, the green stalk that used to have buds on it and blooms. And as you know, daylilies, after they bloom, this stalk turns brown. And you're going to want to harvest this before it turns brown and dries up, because at that point it's not getting any more energy through the stalk, and it's just going to wither up and die if you don't harvest it at that point. And so what you're going to want to do, what we do, is we'll trim them a couple inches below, something like that, right? Okay, so we got a couple inches in there, and the reason I like to leave a little bit below it is so that when I stick it into my into the soil or my potting soil, whichever I'm planting it into, it's got kind of like a little anchor here, right? And then I trim off what's above it, right? So that's what a harvested prolif looks like. All right, so after you have cut your prolif, what you're going to do obviously is plant it. Probably you're going to want to plant this in some potting soil, or maybe a really well worked up soil bed would be fine as well. If you plant it in just some not worked up well garden soil, it may not, it's going to be putting out little bitty roots, from the base here is the hope. So you're not going to want heavy soil. It may make it harder on the prolif to do that. So basically, you're just going to stick it in there, about that deep or so. You make sure you got soil around the base of that little prolif right there. All right, and then you're going to want to just make sure and keep this well watered, which every day or whatnot, because this is going to be in the summer when you're doing this, right? In our area, we'll be harvesting these now. It's mid-July, and then some of the varieties, they won't ripen until first part of August. So it's hot times. You're going to want to water these. Now, if you do it in a pot or potting soil like this, it might get large enough for you to move out into the field in the fall, just depending on where you live. Or you may want to keep it in the pot until the next spring and line it out. Remember, if you keep your daylilies in a pot, you'll definitely need to give this some winter protection, because it will freeze, and especially a small plant like this, over the winter. So I hope you enjoyed this video about daylily proliferations. If you did, I'd like to direct you to another video we shot about how to plant a bed of daylilies. I think you might enjoy that one as well. Our family's been growing daylilies for 40 years now, and we really just enjoy all things about daylilies and would love to talk to you about them. If you have any questions or comments, you can put them in the comments below, where all the information about how to contact us is on our website. So thanks. Have a great day.